last semester we learned how to describe people and how to describe things, but today we're going to improve our descriptions. We're going to learn actually how to compare things or how to compare people. More specifically, today we're going to learn comparisons of inequality, which means that we're going to compare things that are not similar. So let me give you an example. In this case, if we compare the pizza and the plate, we see that the pizza is actually bigger than the plate. Bigger than. That's our comparison. So in Spanish, the way that you would do that, you would say la pizza es más grande que el plato. Más grande que el plato. So let me give you another example to make it a little bit more evident here. The pizza is more expensive than the salad. I highlighted for you some keywords, más and then que. Más cara que, more expensive than. Okay, so those are the words that you need to remember are más que. But what if I switch it and I say that the salad is less expensive than the pizza? In that case, you would have to switch más to menos que. Okay, so to summarize, the words that you need to remember are más que or menos que. So here, it's like a formula, más que and menos que. And in between más que, you're going to have an adjective, so something that describes something. An adverb, usually something that goes next to an action verb, or a noun, a thing. Okay, so let me give you an example of each of them. So I'm going to give you an example of a comparison with an adjective. So take a look at that toaster. That's actually not my toaster. I wish I had one like that. In this case, I'm going to say más nueva que. Now, notice that in English, you say my toaster is newer than my microwave oven. So you just added ER to the word new. In Spanish, we don't have that. That does not exist. So if we were going to translate this literally, it would say my toaster is more new than my microwave oven. Okay? So here's another example using an adverb. Mi amigo llega más tarde que yo a la clase de español. Again, the translation in English would be my friend arrives later than I to the Spanish class. You just added ER to late. We can't do that. So if we were going to translate this literally, it would say my friend arrives more late than I to the Spanish class. The reason why I'm giving you this literal translation is that you remember that it's always going to be more something than, okay, or less something in the middle than. Let's go on to a noun. This example says my apartment building has more floors than yours, than your apartment building. Floors is a noun, it's a thing, right? So likewise, mi edificio de apartamentos tiene más pisos que el tuyo. Okay? So pretty simple. To summarize, you just need to remember it's like a formula. Más, something goes in the middle, then que. Or menos, something goes in the middle, then que. Let's move on. El sofá blanco cuesta, it costs $7,000. El sofá naranja cuesta $1,000. So if we were going to compare, we're going to say that one is more expensive than the other. So we would say el sofá blanco es más caro que el sofá naranja. The white sofa is more expensive than the orange sofa. What about an example with menos que? Let's talk about comfort. El sofá naranja es menos cómodo que el sofá blanco, less comfortable than the white sofa. Try to fill in the blanks. I'll give you a minute to do that. All right. If you filled it in with más and then que. You got it right. Great job. All right, what about if I wanted to say that, let's say that I'm in the furniture store and the white sofa to me is the most beautiful of all of the sofas. How would I do that? That's called the superlative. When you're comparing something that is the most, the best, the maximum, okay? So if you're gonna do that, you just need the word más or menos, okay? But in front of más, you need to add an article, just like you would in English. Because in English you would say the white sofa is the most beautiful. Literal translation, el sofá blanco es el más hermoso. The literal translation would be the white sofa is the more beautiful. Okay? So again, just need to remember más and then stick an article. That article, el, is in relation to el sofá, which in this case is masculine. And I gave you here the articles that you need, el, la, los, las, right? So just make a note of those articles. Again, if you're going to do a comparison saying that something is the most beautiful, el sofá es el más hermoso de todos, of all. Okay? Let's say that you're looking at a blouse. La blusa es la más bonita de todas. Let's say that I'm looking at some purses. Estas bolsas, these bags, these handbags, son las más caras. Maybe the more expensive, the most expensive, but literal translation is the more, okay? What about an example with los, let's say, los pantalones. So maybe you're looking at some jeans, los vaqueros, and they are the coolest of all of them in the store. Estos vaqueros, these jeans, son los más padres. We're almost done here, so to summarize, one of the most important things that we learned in this tutorial was más blank que, menos blank que. However, there is one exception where instead of que, you're going to use de. For example, en la clase hay más de 15 sillas. In our classroom, there are more than 15 chairs. Why do we use de here instead of que? Because we're talking about a specific quantity. Another example, tu casa está a más de 2 horas de aquí. Your house is more than 2 hours away from here. So you try this next one. Kuma weighs more than 100 pounds and Mimi weighs less than 15 pounds. If you said Kuma pesa más de 100 libras y Mimi pesa menos de 15 libras, great job. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of our comparisons of inequality. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next tutorial. Adios.